Hello fellow 7 Days to Die gamers, this is Games for Kicks and welcome to my how-to guide on how to farm and cook. What my plan is to cover is how to farm, what to do with your proceeds from your farming, where you can farm, a few tips and tricks on farming, and then get right into cooking. Not only I'm gonna cover cooking as in what you can cook with the things you get from farming, but given a lot of recipes actually mix meat with vegetables and crop, I will also cover what you can cook on food without vegetables, without the farming stuff, so like rabbit and pork and venison. So to that end, let's get started. To my right you can see something I've prepared, different type of things you can farm. I will get into them in a little while. My little tree farm, a nice empty space for us to get down and dirty together and do some farming. And here you can see something which I'm very proud of, which is my little greenhouse. So it's a bit cramped, but that's okay. I used minimal space requirements. Okay, I left one side free, so hey, we can do some farming together. Okay, now, where to start? Let's start with different types of seeds and different types of things you can farm. Hi, let's get started on seeds. Okay, or anything else you can plant for that reason. Some are beans. So, blueberry seeds. Blueberries, you find a lot of them in the winter biome. There's also forest biome I believe they are in, and they could well be in many other places, but I'm no expert on where you will find these things. The way you get blueberry seeds is you pick blueberry bushes which give you blueberries. All you really have to do with your blueberries then is place them into the middle of your crafting window and you get blueberry seeds. And that's all there is to it. That is pretty much the same principle for everything else. Now coffee beans are the exceptions because coffee beans are used in their bean form not only for planting but also for cooking. So there is no other form. There is no seed and non-seed form. Corn. When you find corn, you usually come across corn in the wild like this. Or you might find actually in a house an ear of corn. Ear of corn is what you get when you take down corn. And seeds you get, you probably have guessed it correctly, and I might as well pull everything else down for that matter. And seeds for corn you get by placing the corn into the middle. There you go. Now that holds true with potatoes as well. If you look at the potato seeds, usually you find potato seeds. When I find the random things in bags, in cars, in prefabs, I usually find seeds, and I usually don't find potatoes. But hey, your experience may differ and you may have found potatoes. To get potato seeds, the same thing. One potato gives you 4 seeds. That's pretty much standard. Now, what else you have here is cotton. Cotton seeds are simply made from cotton that you find in the wild. So you pick up the cotton, you put it in the middle, and you make your cotton seed. Again, making 4 seeds per cotton. Goldenrod flowers, which were recently added only to be farmable, can also be broken down into goldenrod seeds. Therefore, can be farmed now. There you go. There's also 2 other seeds you can find in the world, which is maple seeds and pine seeds. You don't really find them, but you get them from destroying trees. Every time you chop down a tree, I don't know if it's 100% or if it's a very high chance, or I think it's every time though, when you destroy a tree, the tree will drop a seed of its type. As you can see here, I have 2 types of trees, pine trees and maple trees, and when I destroy the pine trees it will give me pine seeds, when I destroy the maple trees it will give me maple seeds. So that's how. What do you do now with these seeds? Well, you can create some nice farming area like this. But how do you farm? And how do you prepare the farmland? So let's cover next how to farm. So let's see what we need to farm. To farm and prepare to farm, you need to prepare your dirt. This is grass basically. To prepare dirt, you need to hit it not with the left mouse. Left mouse will simply destroy grass. With the hoe, that is a hoe by the way. The hoe the gardening hoe you usually use a lot to remove grass because it's very quick to remove grass. However, if you don't use the left click but you use the right click, it does that. Now what this basically does is, depending which way around you're standing, whichever way you're looking, the part you hit becomes fertilized or prepared for seeding, whatever you want to call it. The fields immediately left and right will be lowered, and that's pretty much like the tracks you see in a farming area. So as you go down, you can see the block on the left and the block on the right are lowered, while the block that you're hitting is raised. Okay, now of course this means you have to leave one space between each area. However, what happens is if you do this, it lowers the one you just went over. So to best illustrate this is, imagine you need always 3 rows to farm. If you hit the middle row becomes prepared for seeding. The row on the right and the left are drop-offs. You cannot plant anything in them, nothing will grow in them. You probably can plant in them, but nothing will grow. The reason I mentioned orientation is, it is very difficult sometimes for people, like I found it very difficult in the beginning, to figure out exactly how it works, because I would have started off like this, and like this, and like this, and then maybe have a wall behind me and go, okay, I finish off like this. And all of a sudden everything starts changing, and I would be like, what the hell is going on? Why is it destroying everything I just did? So remember, if you're deciding to do it this way, then stay in this direction, move on to skip a row, move on to the next, and stay in this direction. Do not start changing directions as you prepare your farmland. So make the decision up front. Do I want my farming tracks to go left to right or up to down, whichever way, or south to west, whatever. Yeah, sorry, south to west. North to south, so east to west, or vice versa. But make a decision and stick to it. Vertical, horizontal, whatever it is you decide to use in your terminology to make your mind up, stick to it. Consistency is key here. So let's fix our little problem. Okay, now we're also going to prepare the next row over, not the next row, but we skip a row and go to the row thereafter. There you go. Beautiful. Now we skip one again, and you can go forward or backwards, that doesn't really matter. What matters is that you stay in the same direction, that you face the same direction as you do it. Now you skip one again, and there you go. Now you find sometimes very odd results, and I think there's a few known bugs that sometimes when you raise ground like this, it raises the ground quite drastically and visually extremely high. And usually you find that your crop won't grow. It kind of explodes as it grows. Now this is a known bug. If it has been fixed, I don't know. It has been mentioned on the 7 Days to Die wiki still as a bug. So as it gets evening and I want to stay in daytime, let me just quickly fix that. Okay, now once you have prepared your earth for seeding or fertilization, whatever you want to call it, then we can have some fun with seeds. And that is the easy part now. Blueberry seeds. Hey, let's place some blueberry seeds down. You see, you can put them very close to each other. Direction doesn't matter now. So say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, come on. And 8. It can be a bit finicky when you stand too close to it. Okay, so we prepared it for 8. Okay, let's do 4 each with these guys. Okay, so here's your coffee again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we have our corn, which I'm actually going to place in the end because it's rather taller, so much taller than the others. So let's go to the potatoes. 1, 2, 3, 4. And here we have the cotton. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4 goldenrod seeds. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now most of these will grow in about 3 to 4 days. I'm sure it has to do also with how much sunlight is there. When weather patterns will be implemented and say it gets dark from rain, I wouldn't be surprised if it takes longer for crop to grow. Hopefully at that stage the fun pimps decide also for us to create artificial light, which could be used for farming indoors without windows. So let's put the corn here, and that's simply because I have corn is much bigger. Corn, remember, if you are placing anything indoors or below a roof and it's outdoors but just you have an overhang or something, remember that corn will grow the tallest at 3 blocks high. Everything else is 1 block high. Nothing is 2 blocks high as far as I know. Even the coffee, who looks quite tall, is only 1 block. Okay, so let's put our seeds back to make some room. And look at what we've done. And this is how easy it is to start your farm. So remember, you come across blueberries, break them down into seeds and place them. Corn, very important. A lot of recipes, as you will see now in a second, are based on corn and cornmeal, which you make from ears of corn. Goldenrod tea is the #1 drink you want to make. Goldenrod tea gives you back 40 stamina and 40 hydration, and it clears dysentery. Coffee gives you a non-stop buzz for a set amount of time that gives you a rush, which means you don't drop. Like I covered that in my last in my 10.3 update as well, hand in hand with beer, which has been added, but beer can't be made yet as far as I know. So coffee you can make, and I'll show you now how in a second, and you can see you get a buzz from coffee, which gives you 2 stamina every 1 second, which means you can do for example a lot of actions like chopping trees or mining without getting tired, without wasting stamina, or run away from zombies non-stop. So coffee, really important. Goldenrod, really important. Cotton, well, you might say, what is so important about cotton? Well, 2 cotton placed here and here will make a cloth. A cloth, if you look at what you can do with cloth, fragments, can be used to make your armor. It can be made to make a new old bed or a sleeping bag. Sandbags, bandages, simple bandages, yeah? Furniture. There is a lot you can do with it, okay? Also, splints, torches, and weapon repair kits. So, cloth fragments, well, you can find them pretty much by destroying curtains in houses and finding plenty of cotton flowers. If you find a place you want to settle down in, you don't want to constantly wait for respawns. So yes, I would recommend to start also adding cotton to your farm. Now, let's cover next how you harvest. To harvest your crop and your proceeds, it's actually very simple. Goldenrod tea, pick it up. Cotton flour, simply press E and pick it up. It will go into your inventory, just like that. Now remember, this was 1 seed of goldenrod tea and 1 seed of cotton. But each of those give you back 4 seeds. So you basically make a profit of 4 every time you place 1. 4 cotton seeds. The same goes for potatoes. Potatoes give you actually back 2 potatoes. So you take them, pick them up, you get now 2 potatoes. Each 1 potato goes into 4 seeds. So they're a little bit more profitable than cotton or goldenrod flour, as you place 1 seed and you get 2 potatoes, which turns into 8 seeds in total. That is a nice profit. Now I'll get to the corn last. Coffee beans. wow, we get 2 coffee beans, but we cannot break them down into seeds. So in this case, it is the lowest income so far, or turnaround that you can make a profit of beans, because 1 bean will give you 2 beans. So remember that these type of ratios when you build your farm, that you realize, okay, coffee, I have to plant a hell of a lot more coffee to make my profit that I can use then to make to cook coffee, while at the same time have enough left to farm. Meanwhile, potatoes, you only need a few because you get the biggest turnaround on it. Blueberries, you get 4 blueberries from 1, and though 1 blueberry only breaks into 1 seed, so that is a 1-to-1 ratio in that sense with blueberry to seeds. However, you get 4 from 1 seed as you cook it, so that's a 3 blueberry profit. 1 you turn back into a seed and you got 3 profit. So that's all in all not too bad, and this is how you harvest. Now corn, now this is something I was told, and I think it works. You can pick up corn here, here, and here. So you could pick up corn, start from the top, because if you don't start on the top, you're screwed. If you start on the bottom, everything else will fall down. Okay, I have a few more, so I'll show you. So let's say I take that, everything falls down. What did I get out of this one? 2 ears of corn. That's not really that amazing. So let's go over here and check this out again. So instead of starting on the bottom though, or the middle, which makes the top collapse, let's start at the top. And at the top, we have 1 corn in the moment. So let's pick that up. That's 1. Nice. Now here's another 2. Okay, and that was it. So that was 3 corn. So it seems that the middle part and the bottom part actually belong together, even though they have separate boxes. So if you pick up the top one, you got 1 corn. As you can see here, it went from 5 to 6. But if I pick up the middle one, the bottom one goes as well. And it went to 8. So that was 2. Now, the reason I'm mentioning to you, after a while, the top will give you more than 1. After a while, when they're fully grown, oh, they fixed that. Oh, interesting. They fixed that. The top used to actually give you 5 before the last update, or when they grew to a certain point. I actually can't see now anything was 5. Ah, well, okay. Anyway, nonetheless, let me get back to topic. You only want to pick up the top every time you harvest. Why is that? Because, well, if you get 3 from a full corn, yeah, that gives you 12 seeds. You can do another 12. However, corn takes forever to grow to its fullest height. It takes about 3 to 4 days to grow to here, and then it takes another 2 or 3 days to go fully up. So the best thing is to take the 1 corn from the top, which gives you 1 ear of corn. Turn this 1 ear of corn in 4 more, into 4 seeds, which means the next one you can keep. Now the benefit of doing this now is that this part here will grow very quickly. Within about 2 or 3 days, the top part is grown, and it saves you in the long run time, because you already have 4 seeds now. You can plant 4 more, and then you basically imagine a whole row of that, which means only every 3rd one you have to take the top and turn it into corn. So it's up to you if you want to do that or not. It's a bit weird. I remember the top one giving you 5 corn. They must have fixed that, so that was even a bigger profit. So yeah, I don't see this happening anymore with 5 corns being on the top. Yeah, they're all just 1 now on the top. Okay. Now, it could be that they're 5, and then as you wait too long, they turn into 1. I don't know. I'm pretty sure earlier on I actually saw 5 on the top, so I thought that was still workable. Nonetheless, okay, so that is how you harvest your proceeds. Now, usually you make so much profit from your harvest that you harvest, you make more seeds, and you keep every now and then 1 on the side, and eventually you build up a good repository of food and plants and raw materials for cooking. Which brings me to the next point, the trees. Before we get into cooking, I want to cover the trees. The trees are a very special type of farming. So let's get started. Trees. How to farm trees. It's actually no different than farming crop or cotton or goldenrod tea, with the only difference being you don't need a hoe. You just place the dirt. Actually, in fact, trees do not grow on... If I put a tree here in one of those prepared pieces, it will not grow. So trees need to be all el natural. So what am I doing here with this wood? Well, basically I could just put the trees right here on the grass or on dirt, and it would grow. It's no big deal. Why did I put the dirt on wood frames? That goes again, just like the corn. It's a little hint and tip. The corn, a bit disappointed, is not as good as it was. Anyway, a little tip, and if it works, again, I don't know if they fixed it or not. Yeah. Instead of placing your tree onto dirt and then using your axe to destroy the tree, you could do very quickly farm your trees. So first you need your dirt, and you will see why I put it on a piece of wood now. You don't need the wood. That is just me doing it. You can place the dirt down on the ground and then put the trees on it. So all the trees care about is that they are on dirt. So if we now look at my maple seeds, I can just place, or actually let's, for variety, let's put the pine seeds in. So you just start putting them in. They take 1 square up each. There you go. And done. The same if you want to do it with the maple seeds. Just put the dirt here. Then take your maple seeds and place them on top. Now trees... Okay, I'm gonna have to destroy that. Sorry about that. That was me messing up now with my targeting. A floating tree. Where is it? Where is it? Why can I not get to it? Okay, that's a bit weird. Anyway, no matter. There we go. It's gone. Now, these trees will take a few days to grow as well. However, pay very close attention to trees when they grow. Because if you look at the trees over here, for example, yeah, some of them are very skinny and some of them are not. Especially when you plant trees, what happens is they turn into a skinny version first. Not this is a different type of tree. Even this one turns into a skinny version. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. That's my barbed wire. And then there will be a second stage, which is another few days, where it will turn to a big chunky tree. The difference is the amount of wood logs you get out of these trees. Now, let's see how to harvest trees. Harvesting trees usually requires for you to get an axe. So if we get a fire axe, happy days, we can start chopping away on our tree, like so. And this big fat tree, which is fully grown, should give us 7 wood logs and 2 maple seeds. So that is very good. So each of those trees gives me 2 maple seeds. However, apparently what you should be able to do is, instead of you wasting your time, if you want to do mass manufacturing of logs, instead of you wasting your time on hitting the trees, you should be able to do that. Boom. And what happened is 7 logs, 7 logs, 7 logs, 7 logs, 7 logs, and we got plenty of seeds. Now, if we look at our logs now, that was 42 logs very quickly. So if we do the same here, now remember we have 55 seeds each, so let's see what we get out of it. There you go. Now let's just hoover it all up by holding down E. And we got 62, so we went from 4 trees we had left. We went from 55 seeds to 62. Okay, so that's 7 seeds. That is a lot. And we had 42 logs, which we now don't have anymore. So 42 logs We got 28 logs. Now this is if you want to do really fast. All you have to do then again is you lose nothing. You pick up the dirt again, you pick up everything again. So you lose absolutely nothing in the process. Yeah? Just literally put down, you can put them closer. I just left a row in between. But yeah, put them directly behind each other and, you know, it's no problem. Just straight away start again, placing down your wood. Then place down the dirt again. There you go. Okay. Jump on top. And now off you go. Tree, 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 tree. Now the reason you might also want to leave a gap in between if you want to harvest the way I harvested. Whoops. If you want to harvest the way I harvest, is the problem is they all hold each other up. So you would have to remove all of these 3 by 7 or 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3 by 5 wood blocks before all this collapses. So by having a row, having the row separately, you can just pick up row by row. But again, it's up to you. I showed you a little hint and tip. If you want to use it, use it. If you don't, you consider it cheating, just like people digging up earth under a tree consider that cheating, who don't like to do that. That's fine, don't use it. I'm simply showing you that you can do it. That's all. I'm not recommending on unrecommending or disrecommending, not recommending it, so that's not what this is about. Okay, that was the trees. Now let's get to the nice part. Let's get into cooking. I have prepared pretty much every single recipe I could think of. This is gonna be where my yacht is gonna go. And over here, in this area, let's jump over here. Okay, what we have here is, like I said, I will cover everything that I can think of. No, this is condensed to food. I will not cover how to make biofuel or any of the other things you can use with a campfire. This is not about what you can do with a campfire. This is about what food you can cook. Okay? Eating, hydration, what liquids you can cook, and so on. Okay. The one I actually forgot was the very basic one, and I'm just gonna put this down, which is the murky water. Let's put a cooking pot in and get some murky water. I kind of forgot that because it's a little bit of a given that let's get rid of all that. We don't need that anymore. Okay, so don't know what just happened there. We get some murky water. A new thing that they added is a can of murky water. Okay, so we get another fireplace set up here. And we'll put a stick in it. Sorry, I'm just going to quickly prepare that and then I will go through that, so don't worry about it. I will not just hastily go over it. Okay, and then we have this, which is the murky water. Okay. Now I believe I have every single recipe I can think of now covered, okay? Now, let's start with food. When you go throughout your wild, you will find 3 types of animals. You will find rabbits, pork, piggies, and deer, or venison, which results in venison. So you get rabbit meat, pork meat, and venison meat. You can cook pork and rabbit and venison in several different ways. You can boil it, you can cook it on a stick, or you can grill it. So, as you can see here, you can take pork, put it in a cooking grill as cookware, and it results in grilled pork. Let's do that. There you go, and you need to press cook. The one thing about cooking is, unlike the forge that you don't have to interact with and just place fuel, with cooking you need to press that button. Personally, I think they should remove it because between the forge and cooking it irritates me tremendously. And here we have grilled pork. Grilled pork is nice of 2 health, nice of 15 fullness. It has a smell range. Yes, it does. Now, what do we have here? Here's the same logic, a grill, venison, which creates grilled venison. And we forgot to press cook. I'll get back to that in a second. Here we have a rabbit. Grilled rabbit. The same logic. Grill, meat, result. Now, as you can see, they all pretty much are the same. Okay, they give you 20 fullness, plus 2 health, and minus 2 hydration. They are exactly the same. Oh, this is 15 fullness, sorry, they're slightly different, but in that regards, but they have the same kind of effect. They give you a little bit of fullness. So the least fullness seems to be, in this case, the venison, which only gives you 20, and what was that? The pork gives you only 15. Okay, so the pork gives you the least. Now you can also use a pot and boil it. Boiling it needs water. So if you are starting off, you probably don't want to go with boiled. There's no benefit in having it boiled or grilled, except that here you have to use some bottled water. So when we go here, you get the same with the venison, and you get the same with the rabbit. So if we look at the boiled pork now, the boiled pork gives you fullness and health, but it doesn't give you the -1 hydration that you had when compared to when you grilled it. Now here you see the boiled venison. It is the same as the grilled venison except minus the hydration. So the benefit of boiled over cooked is the boiled does not cause dehydration. Then we have the last option. We have sticks. You can put pork, venison, and rabbit on a stick. And all it takes is literally a stick and the rabbit. Nothing else. The same as when you grill it. You just need the meat and the cookware. And that's it. Okay, now what are the stats on this? Again, it gives you -5 hydration. So you can see, when you start off in the wild the very first time, the easiest tool for you to get as cookware is a stick. You get penalized the biggest there because it gives you the maximum penalty in hydration. So if we take that, just for the pork as an example, and the boiled pork and the grilled pork. So you can see the order here. -5 hydration, -2 hydration, and no hydration. So boiled food is therefore the most recommended one. However, you need a pot for it, and you need to spend water on doing it. So that is your choice. You can do that whichever way you like, as long as you're aware of the penalties of hydration. But 5 hydration is not the end of the world. So I will just eat all of them now to make space in my inventory. Now that has covered the meat. Come on. Nice. Okay. Let's get into cooking with our proceeds from the crop as well as meat. There's some mixed recipes there. We can make bacon and eggs, which I included. I know they have nothing to do with farms, but I wanted to make a complete food guide as well. Eggs, 2 eggs, and 1 raw pork. I'm not going to get into that you can eat eggs. I'm not going to get into the fact that you can eat corn by itself and blueberries. No, I'm just literally showing you now what you can cook with them. That you can eat them raw is a given, because you will have them as soon as you farm them in your inventory, and you can actually try to eat them, so you can figure that out. Now, eggs. 2 eggs to 1 pork makes bacon and eggs. Bacon and eggs is actually a very cool recipe. Now, I don't want to constantly have them burn that long, so let's just do that. Now, bacon and eggs is a brilliant recipe. And I'm gonna get into the details of why in a second. Here we have a baked potato. This is a potato that you got earlier. Now this is a brilliant recipe because it requires nothing but a cooking grill and a potato. This is literally just a cooking grill plus eggs and raw pork. No water. Brilliant. Then what do we have here? Oh, that was the other one, sorry. Now, if we go and look here, cornbread is made with cornmeal. Hang on a second. You haven't covered cornmeal. I know I didn't. Cornmeal is made from your ear of corn. So when you collect your corn that we did earlier from the corn over there, you get ear of corn. You can take ear of corn, 2 of them, place them into your inventory. You see how if you place 1, it gives you seeds, but 2, just like with cotton, you split them like that, makes cornmeal. There's your cornmeal, okay? So now as you can see here, 1 cornmeal and 1 water will give you cornbread. The bacon and eggs are not finished. There, okay. Now, cornmeal is used for a lot of things, and that's why I said earlier corn is one of the most important things you should get going, because cornbread in the beginning is really, really delicious. It gives you a fullness of 10 and no penalties. Brilliant. And it also, if you see here, it doesn't have a smell. Okay? That sign here is because of other food I'm carrying in the moment. Okay? But I show you this. There's a lot of foods which don't have smell, such as what I'm looking at now, the blueberry pie, which gives you a fullness of 20 and also has no smell on the food. However, you need an egg, you need the blueberry, and you need a cornmeal and water to make this. Now if you look at the bacon and eggs, just so I cover that as well, bacon and eggs give you 30 fullness and 3 health. So it's slightly better than these two. Like, so this is like 10, this is 20, and this is 30 plus health. And it also has no smell. Isn't that awesome? All these foods have no smell. You can carry them around and hide behind a zombie and he won't even see you. Baked potato gives you a fullness of 12, so it kind of sits in between these guys here. Anyway, just wanted to get rid of it. Then we have the blueberry pie, which we just made, and the cornbread, so I just picked them up that I know they're empty. Now, what we have here now next is stews. Venison stew. Venison stew is made from, obviously, venison, an ear of corn, which you know how to get, and a potato, which you know how to get. So these are just the raw materials from your farming. Meanwhile, that is just an animal that you hunt down, and there's some water you boil, which I get to in a minute. And that makes venison. Now, venison stew, sorry, not venison, venison stew, on the other hand, does leave quite a smell. So if you look at down here, I have venison stew, and it actually has a smell range of 20. However, it gives you a huge amount of fullness and hydration as well as health. It is a brilliant food. It is a very good food, except that it smells. Exactly the same recipe, but instead of venison, you use rabbit. Gives you have guessed it, rabbit stew. It has the similar, so rabbit stew is not as good. It has similar statistics. Instead of 5, 40, 25, it has 3, 25, 15. It smells the same bad way though. There's absolutely no difference in how badly it smells. It just gives you an option in case you come across rabbit instead. So which is this guy here. So I have the rabbit stew here. There you go. And that will make the rabbit stew, which is exactly the same. Potato, ear of corn, water, and the meat. If you now, though, have no meat, I'll show you this down here now. If you have no meat, and you just have ear of corn, potato, and water, you can make a vegetable stew, which is awesome. Okay? Okay, it's not letting me put firewood in for whatever reason. Oh, there we are. Yeah, it's a bit weird. Sometimes it feels like a bit bugged. Okay, now if we look at this is our rabbit stew. We finished that. And now we're just finishing our vegetable stew, which takes a few seconds to cook. And vegetable stew, you can't do it with pork, by the way. If you put pork here, it will just make vegetable stew. It doesn't care. So you can't make a pork stew. They haven't added that for some reason. I'm not sure why. So we have venison stew, rabbit stew, and vegetable stew. The vegetable stew also smells, but it saves you the meat because you get also 5 health and 20 fullness and 25 hydration, which is actually quite good. It's a little less on fullness than the rest, but it has great hydration, and the smell range is the same though. So here's your choice. Whatever you find first, you can make. Now, what are we left with? Grain alcohol. Grain alcohol isn't a food, but I included it because, again, it uses corn meal. Corn meal, and you need a beaker as well. A beaker, bottled water and cornmeal will give you grain alcohol. Now, grain alcohol, which I'm not going to show you, is used in combination. It's used to make biofuel. It's used in combination with biofuel to make gas cans, which is these guys here, and first aid kits, which is this here. But that's a different story. I'm not going to get into that. I just want to include it to show you again another use for cornmeal, which emphasizes my point about corn being one of the first things you want to start farming. So, corn, the simple one, and bottled water. That one is simple. Very simple. It gives you corn on the cob. Corn on the cob smells. And it only gives you 2 fullness and hydration. So yeah, I think it's one of those things where you want to be quite desperate to have cooked. So in my opinion, cornbread is probably the easiest one to make in the beginning when you have corn, and should be the one that you do. Now, on to drinks. When you do drinks, yes, I show you this actually right now. You have an empty container and you will find a lot of cans in the beginning. So say you have an empty can. Since Alpha 10.2, you can do this now. You right click with your can. Oh, it actually uses all cans now. That's not good. And the funny thing is they stack, but they don't stack back because they're not supposed to stack. Cans, that's a bug. What you're seeing just now is definitely a bug. When you have 32 cans in here, should probably take 1 can away and put it in the inventory, because cans of murky water are not supposed to stack. They made them stackable. They must have done that in the hotfix because... And... yeah, they also made them stackable to 15 now. Yeah. Okay. Sorry guys, that was my mistake. They made them stackable of 15. Originally they even mentioned it in the Alpha 10.2 notes that they do not stack, because they have no lid and it doesn't make sense to stack them. So obviously they bent to the will of the complainees and stacked them to 15 like the water. The same is for glass jars. If you put a glass jar in here, you get to collect murky water. Okay? The problem with murky water is the same as everywhere else. It gives you hydration and stamina, but gives you dysentery, or has a 50% effect. The same here, but this one gives you only 15 gives you the same hydration. So wow, in this case glass and cans are just identical now. Okay, so hey guys, whatever you find first, glass or cans, just do what I do here now. Come on, jump up. Place your cans into water with a stick. You don't need a cooking pot, which is brilliant in the beginning. All you need is cans, which you find en masse, and a stick, and then put some firewood on. Okay, and it will do boiled water for you, just like the boiled water here is, just like the bottled water. It is boiled. It's healthy water that you can drink. Murky water works the same way. You just simply do the murky water, put it in with some wood, and it gives you bottled water. Now here's a boiled can of water, which has a hydration of 20 and a stamina of 20. That's nice. And bottled water gives you 20 as well. In this case, you can see boiled water is the same as bottled water. It gives you the same effects. Brilliant. And they both remove the burning effect, which is a multiplayer thing. So there we go. Cheers. And you get a can back, of course, from that. The same as you get a jar back from bottled water. Another thing you can cook on liquids is coffee. coffee is very simple: bottled water and coffee beans. And that's all there's to it. Simple as that. And that makes you nice jars of coffee. And that's all there's to it. And you need a pot for that. Also, a pot, bottled water, and goldenrod flour makes goldenrod tea. Brilliant. There you go. That's your goldenrod tea sorted out. Now, and that is it. That is every single recipe for food and drink that I could think of. I probably forgot one or two, or maybe even more. If I did, remind me in the comments. Otherwise, I hope that you found this farming and cooking guide extremely helpful, because me preparing for this alone and actually setting all this up and doing all this was well worth it, because I learned a lot about food myself in the process. So this guide was very helpful to me as well. Also, there you go. There's your garden house, your greenhouse, which we haven't really covered in the farming, but again, it's the same as outside farming. There is no difference. You just throw in the earth, you hoe it down. You can see it's hoed here in this row and this row over here, and that's it. Okay, and then you just plant it and it will grow exactly the same speed and exactly the same height, which is 3. Okay? Now let me finish this episode by giving you a good little flyby above my farm. It might give you some ideas of what you can do. Now, I hope you like my greenhouse. If you want to know how I made this, I can make a guide on this alone, how to make a greenhouse. I gladly do that. You can see the ceiling is very stable as well. You can jump on it. It will not come down. It will not. So anybody telling you you can't build buildings with glass ceilings, that's not true. Sure, I had to put in the middle some support, but that is a 9x9 window is pretty much the biggest you can do without support. You can go slightly bigger, but then as soon as you go to the other side and start filling in the blanks, you're screwed. It's all gonna come down, including the wood in the middle. So the way around it for me was that I put this pillar up through the middle that everything goes into. Okay, so there you go. Final thoughts, summaries, greenhouse. I hope you enjoyed everything. I hope you enjoyed my trees. I hope you enjoyed my farming tips, and I hope you enjoyed my cooking tips. And I really hope you enjoyed my greenhouse, because I actually took a long time to build that while everything else was growing. So let me know in the comments how useful you found that, if you found it useful at all. If I forgot anything, let me know the recipes I forgot. Let me know. Don't be shy. And if you found it completely stupid and a waste of space, also let me know. Until next time, this is Games for Kicks, and happy gaming.